Hook. It was a routine traffic stop on a quiet Atlanta evening, but when police officers handcuffed Keshia Thompson, a black woman, for a minor infraction, they had no idea her phone call to her husband would unravel their careers in a matter of hours, exposing a web of misconduct that would shock the city. Keshia Thompson was driving home from her shift at the hospital, her scrubs still clinging to her skin after a 12-hour day in the ER. It was just past 8 p.m. on a warm September evening in Atlanta, and the streets were calm, the city settling into its nightly rhythm. Her mind was on her 2 kids waiting at home and the dinner she still needed to prepare. Her husband, Marcus, a civil rights attorney known for taking on high-profile cases, was likely already home, helping with homework or putting their youngest to bed. As Keshia turned onto Peachtree Road, she noticed the flashing blue lights in her rearview mirror. Her heart sank, a familiar knot forming in her stomach. She wasn't speeding, her tags were up to date, and her taillights were working. She'd checked them herself just last week. Still, she pulled over carefully, her hands gripping the steering wheel at 10 and 2, just as she'd taught her teenage son to do in case he ever faced this situation. 2 officers approached her car, their flashlights cutting through the dusk. Officer Daniel Hargrove, a stocky man with a buzz cut, led the way, his partner, Officer Michael Ruiz, trailing behind. Hargrove's voice was sharp as he asked for her license and registration. Keshia complied, her movements deliberate, her tone polite but firm. She knew better than to argue, but she also knew her rights. "Ma'am, step out of the vehicle," Hargrove said, his tone carrying an edge that made Keshia's pulse quicken. "Why?" she asked, keeping her voice steady. "What's the reason for this stop?" Hargrove's jaw tightened. "You failed to signal a lane change. Now step out." Keshia frowned. She was certain she'd used her blinker, she always did. But she unbuckled her seatbelt and stepped out, her hands visible at her sides. The street was quiet, but a few passers-by slowed to watch, their phones already out recording. What happened next escalated quickly. Hargrove claimed he smelled marijuana in the car, though Keshia hadn't smoked in her life and her car was spotless. Ruiz began searching the vehicle without her consent, tossing her gym bag and a stack of medical journals onto the pavement. When Keshia protested, saying they needed a warrant, Hargrove grabbed her arm, spun her around, and snapped handcuffs on her wrists. The cold metal bit into her skin, and she winced but didn't cry out. "You're under arrest for obstruction," Hargrove said, his voice loud enough for the growing crowd to hear. "Obstruction," Keshia repeated, her voice rising with disbelief. "I'm complying. I'm a nurse. I know my rights." Ruiz smirked, leaning against the patrol car. "Keep talking, lady. You're just making this worse." Keshia's mind raced. She knew this wasn't about a lane change or some fabricated smell of marijuana. This was about power, about her being a black woman who dared to question their authority. She'd seen this before, heard the stories from her patients, her friends, her family. But now it was happening to her. As Hargrove led her to the patrol car, Keshia's phone was still in her hand. She managed to unlock it with her thumb and speed dial Marcus before they could take it away. The call connected just as Hargrove pushed her into the back seat. "Marcus," she said quickly, her voice calm but urgent. "I'm being arrested. Peachtree Road, near the library. 2 officers, Hargrove and Ruiz. They're claiming I didn't signal and smelled marijuana. They're searching my car without permission." Marcus's voice came through, steady but laced with fury. "Stay calm, Keshia. I'm on my way. Don't say anything else to them. I've got this." Hargrove snatched the phone from her hand and ended the call, but it was too late. Marcus had heard enough, and he was already moving. Marcus Thompson was no ordinary husband. At 42, he was one of Atlanta's most respected civil rights attorneys, known for taking on cases that exposed systemic corruption and police misconduct. His firm had a reputation for digging deep, uncovering evidence that others missed, and holding powerful institutions accountable. He'd represented families of victims in wrongful death suits, secured settlements against city officials, and even testified before state legislatures on policing reform. If anyone could turn this situation around, it was Marcus. As Keshia sat in the back of the patrol car, her wrists aching from the tight cuffs, Marcus was already on the phone with his team. He called his investigator, Jamal Carter, a former detective who'd left the force after witnessing too much corruption. "Jamal, I need everything you can get on officers Daniel Hargrove and Michael Ruiz. Complaints, disciplinary records, body cam footage, anything. Start now." Jamal didn't hesitate. "On it, boss. You want me to pull their social media too?" "Everything," Marcus said. "And I need it fast. They've got Keshia in custody." Marcus then called his law partner, Sarah Nguyen, who specialized in public records requests. "Sarah, file an emergency FOIA for any internal affairs reports on Hargrove and Ruiz. I want their entire history with the department." Sarah, who was used to Marcus's intensity, was already typing. "Got it. I'll have something by morning." Finally, Marcus called a contact at a local news station, a reporter named Lisa Grant who'd covered his cases before. "Lisa, my wife's been arrested for no reason. 2 cops, Hargrove and Ruiz, are trying to pin something on her. I'm heading to the scene now. Can you get a crew there?" Lisa didn't need convincing. "We're on our way, Marcus. This sounds big." Back at the scene, Keshia sat silently in the patrol car, her mind focused on staying calm. She knew Marcus was working, and she trusted him to handle this. But the humiliation stung. The crowd had grown and people were shouting, demanding her release. Someone yelled that they'd posted the video online, and Keshia could see Hargrove's face tighten as he realized this wasn't going to stay quiet. Hargrove and Ruiz conferred near the patrol car, their voices low but tense. "This is getting messy," Ruiz muttered. "We should have just written her a ticket." "She was mouthing off," Hargrove snapped. "We can't let that slide." Keshia overheard them, and her resolve hardened. They didn't know who they were dealing with. Not just her but Marcus. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath, picturing her kids' faces to keep herself grounded. Within 20 minutes, Marcus arrived at the scene, his black SUV pulling up just as the news van rolled in behind him. He stepped out, his suit jacket slightly rumpled from the rush, but his presence commanded attention. The crowd parted as he approached the officers, his voice calm but authoritative. "I'm Marcus Thompson, Keshia Thompson's husband and attorney. I want to know why my wife is in handcuffs, and I want to see your body cam footage right now." Hargrove squared his shoulders, trying to match Marcus's intensity. "She's under arrest for obstruction and suspected drug possession. We smelled marijuana in her vehicle." Marcus didn't flinch. "You smelled marijuana? That's convenient. My wife doesn't use drugs, and I'm betting your body cams will show you had no probable cause for this stop, let alone a search. Release her now, or this gets worse for you." Ruiz shifted uncomfortably, glancing at the news crew setting up their cameras. Hargrove, however, doubled down. "You don't get to make demands, sir. Step back or you'll be arrested too." Marcus smiled, but it was cold, calculated. "Go ahead, officer. Arrest me. See how that plays out." The crowd was growing louder, and the news crew was now filming live. Lisa Grant approached, microphone in hand, and began asking questions. "Officers, can you confirm why this woman was detained? We have reports of an unlawful search. Care to comment?" Hargrove's face reddened, but he said nothing. Marcus turned to the camera, his voice steady. "My wife, a nurse who saves lives every day, was pulled over for no reason, handcuffed, and had her car illegally searched. These officers are abusing their power, and we will hold them accountable. By now, Jamal,